Morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you may be joining us from. My name is Mathan Madari, and I am very excited to be sharing this presentation with you, where we will be talking about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Give me 1 minute to share my screen. There we are. And perfect. So that's the beautiful Mount Kilimanjaro there in the background picture. It is a whopping 5,800 meters above sea level. So quite the altitude gain. And our base town where we'll be climbing the mountain from is Moshi, which is about 800 meters above sea level. So you can see that the difference between the base city and the top of the mountain is about 5,000 meters, which we have to climb in give or take a week, 7 days, or 8 days, or 9 days maximum. It's the adventure of a lifetime, and I do welcome you to listen to the presentation, share the presentation. Please reach out if you have any questions about conquering this behemoth of a mountain. My name is Mathan Maderi. Once again, I run a company called Afia Athletic, and we are destination managers for Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kenya, Mount Meru, and all East African mountains. But this one is our favorite. So what we're going to talk about today in our presentation, I'm going to give a short introduction about myself. I'm going to tell you what you should expect when you decide to climb this mountain. I'll tell you how to get ready for conquering this mountain. I'll talk about my role on the mountain, and I'll talk about your role, my role as a guide, and your role as my client. And I can just mention that very briefly. My role is to do all the worrying, to worry about all the little details that could trip us up and all the little details that could make a summit unsuccessful. And your role is to absolutely not worry about anything at all. I will talk about some of the expedition routes that we offer. I will talk about how to make payment and how to make booking for your expedition, and I will answer a few frequently asked questions. Buckle up. So once again, my name is Mathan, and there you have my email, my WhatsApp phone number, and you also have links to my Instagram. I should have added my website there. Our website is kilimanjaroawaits.com. And as you can see to the right of your screen, I have a very beautiful image of our support crew. And the reason it's their picture there and not mine is because basically these are the people who do majority of the heavy lifting on the expedition. For a team of 10 climbers, 10 clients, I will usually have between 40 and 50 crew members doing the heavy lifting, doing the porter's job. We will have additional guides other than myself. We will have a premium world-class chef, and you are going to enjoy all the meals you have on the mountain. And these are just amazingly amazingly dedicated, amazingly trained, and people who absolutely love what they do. And it is because of them and because of their dedication that we are able to conquer Mount Kilimanjaro every single time. I personally, as a guide, have 100% success rate, which means that none of my clients in the 5 years that I have been doing this has been unable to get to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. We have all gotten there safely, and we have all gotten back home safely, which I'm very proud of. So what is it like? And I have subdivided this section into three to just give you an example or to give you a feel of what it's like to be on Mount Kilimanjaro. Number one is your body. So how is your body going to feel? Your body is going to feel progressively exhausted. If you are taking, let's say, the simple route, Coca-Cola, it's a 6 day route. And in the 6 days, none of the 6 days will spare your body from exhaustion. You're going to be working on all those 6 days. We do have 1 day of acclimatization within the 6 days, but even on that day, simply because you are so high in altitude, your body is going to be taking a battering. So you're going to be progressively and accumulatively exhausted for all the 7 days that you are on the mountain. You are going to face dehydration. We drink as much as 6 liters of water a day on the mountain and still end up being a bit dehydrated. The cold temperatures, we will experience cold temperatures, especially at night. During the day, on the first 6 days of the mountain, the temperatures range from between 1 degree Celsius to around 10 degrees Celsius during the day, but at night these temperatures can drop well below 5 degrees Celsius. And on the summit, on a day where we have had severe weather, we could go as low as negative 10 degrees Celsius on the summit. So cold temperatures are also going to be battering your body as as we climb the mountain. You are going to be deprived of your creature comforts. You are going to be so far away from your nearest shower, your nearest hotel room, your nearest comfortable, warm bed, and you are going to be so far away from your own bed. If you've traveled 16 hours to get to Tanzania, you're going to be so far away from the things that you are used to, or your nearest coffee shop. But we will give you some coffee to make up and to try and make up um, for some of this creature comfort. So it's a new environment. It's a harsh environment, and your body does take majority of the beating when you're climbing this mountain. And the elephant in the room, of course, altitude, altitude, altitude. Altitude is the number one cause of people not summiting the mountain. And if you have no experience with mountaineering and you do not know that feeling of altitude, you might find yourself in a bit of a new uncomfortable situation because it's very hard to explain what altitude sickness feels like. And regardless of how experienced you are as an individual mountaineering, sometimes the altitude still manages to get its way into your body and into your bones, and it leaves you, it is able to deprive you of those fleeting last energy cells that you might have in your body. So by far, what I would like you to research as a potential climber of Mount Kilimanjaro is the altitude and how you would possibly prepare yourself and how possibly your body might react to being in such high altitudes. Of course, if you're a mountaineer and you've done high altitudes above 3,000, above 4,000, you will know what I am talking about. And yes, your body, unfortunately, there is no softer way to tell you this, but your body is going to be taking a beating for the entire duration that you spend on the mountain. What about your mind? I try and explain this as best as I can, but no amount of words and no amount of experiences from me will ever be able to capture in its entirety the feeling and the experience of actually being on the mountain. I call it a romance, and the reason I call it a romance is because it's a mysterious feeling of being so far away from what you are used to on a day-to-day basis that that mystery together with the sense of adventure, makes it a beautiful romance between you and yourself, and the feeling that you are there doing this humongous task, and the feeling that you are actually doing it day by day is a feeling that I do not think you can get anywhere else other than a mountain. And the 3 points that I've highlighted here are the heightened awareness. You will become a champion of yourself. You will learn how to listen to your body and you will identify small pains, small clicks, small cracks in your bones. You are going to be so aware of the feeling of your body because of number one, the anxiety, and number two, just the brilliance of being out there and in nature. And the nature itself will immerse you, total immersion. Number two, you will be so immersed in the beauty and the breathtakingness of this absolutely amazing terrain that you will feel yourself being captivated by every single aspect of this mountain. Every tree will fascinate you. Every change in the vegetation is going to fascinate you. The absolutely incredible views on this mountain are going to captivate your mind and are going to liberate and make you feel like you're on top of the world. Literally, you will be on top of the continent of Africa, and it will feel exactly like it sounds. The group therapy cannot be understated. You will walk into this mountain potentially in most cases, probably you will walk into this mountain with a group of strangers. You will be hiking with a group of strangers. But the intimacy that you are going to develop with this group of strangers, because you are doing this hard thing together, the intimacy, albeit fleeting, is going to be one that you are going to remain with for the rest of your life. The memories you are going to create on the mountain and the memories that you are going to share from each other's lives simply because you are stuck for 7 days and there is no Wi-Fi, there is no cellular network, and all you have to get you through this very hard thing is each other. And the camaraderie that forms between people who are hiking the mountain together is one that you are going to remember with, that is going to remain with you for for the rest of your life. So your mind is absolutely going to reap all the benefits that your body is going to be paying so dearly for. And at the end of this trip, your mind is going to feel blissful and you are going to have the mountaineering afterglow where if you'll be walking down the streets, people might stop and ask you, "Hey, sir, hey, madam, why are you so happy?" And you might get the chance to tell them of the amazing experience that you have just had on the Kilimanjaro. What about your spirit? This slide has been left purposely blank, and that is for a very good reason. Because even though we will be in a group together and we will be hiking this mountain together, climbing up this behemoth together, it is a very individual journey. And every step you make will be tied somehow to your individuality and your personal story that you will be bringing to the mountain. And at the end of the day, this will be an extremely personal, an extremely private victory when you get to Point Uhuru and when you put your foot or your flag at the top of Africa. It's a very individual experience, and your spirit will be liberated in any way that you need your spirit to be liberated from. So the reason this slide has been left blank is so that you can tell us your story after the mountain. Tell us what Mount Kilimanjaro means to you and tell us in 3 months, in 6 months, in 2 years, in 3 years. Tell us what that journey of being on the mountain, being on Mount Kilimanjaro meant to you as a human being. In this world that we live in, this mountain means a lot to so many people, not just to myself and not just to the people that I helped climb this mountain. It means a lot to everyone who has interacted with this mountain. And each experience is extremely different and extremely personal. So go ahead and start your journey, start reflecting on what this mountain could mean to you. And when you do get here, and when you do get to the summit, and when we see and when we experience your tears on the summit, and when you experience our tears, you will know that it is that individual victory, that personal triumph of getting to the top of the mountain, that is what this page is for. Now, I have tried to capture, although words will never be able to capture what you may feel on the mountain, but I can tell you for a fact what you will not feel on the mountain. You will never feel unsafe at any time on the mountain, and you will never feel alone at any time on Mount Kilimanjaro. Let's switch gears and let's talk about the actual preparation for this mountain and getting ready for a Mount Kilimanjaro summit. And this part as well has been subdivided into three different categories. There are ways to get your body ready. There are ways to get your mind ready. And you will also need to take very good care to make sure that your gear is, is ready for this mountain. Starting with your body, you will want to up your fitness routine. Whatever your fitness routine is, 6 months, 4 months to the mountain, you will want to 1.5 times your fitness routine. If you run one time a week, you will want to be running 1.5 times a week. You will want to up that routine. If you are a fitness person like myself, training for triathlons and training for competitive sports, you may be in the clear in terms of upping your fitness routine, but you do have to engage the muscles that you will be using in this mountaineering expedition. So you will be wanting to strength train your back, your shoulders, your legs for this expedition. And generally, the rule is we can get you from your couch to Mount Kilimanjaro in 6 months. So by upping your fitness routine, it is actually possible for you to come and hike this mountain and summit this mountain with us. You will want to do altitude training. Find a mountain near where you live and do a 3,000 meters, a 4,000 meters climb to see how your body reacts to the altitude, to the gain in altitude, so that you can tell whether or not you, number one, need extra medication or you need the altitude medication. Or number two, you can tell whether you need further altitude training just so that you can know the different dynamics that your body is going to bring in once we put it on high altitude. If you do not have a mountain near you that is 3,000 meters, that is 4,000 meters, stick to your fitness routine, stick to upping your fitness routine, up your cardio, and if you can, please talk to your GP about whether or not you are an individual that needs altitude medication before you come for this climb. There we go, altitude medication. Talk to your GP and get them to tell you whether you will be needing the altitude medication or not. Cold training, please make sure you do a bit of cold training. And what I mean by cold training is try and get yourself in a cold camp. Try and get yourself in 0 degrees temperature campsite and practice your sleeping. Sleep is one of the things that majority of my clients tell me I have difficulty sleeping on the mountain. So I would say practice your sleeping. Go to a cold camp, practice sleeping out there in the cold, and try and get a good night's sleep so that when you come to the mountain, your body is already acclimatized to sleeping in such cold temperatures. And your gear as well will be ready, and you will know whether your sleeping bag is warm enough, whether you need your pajamas are warm enough so that you can be ready for spending those 6, 7 nights in the mountain. Zone 2 cardio is the sweet spot. And for those of us who are conversant with zone 2 cardio and you know the benefits of hitting your zone 2 runs and zone 2 bike rides, um, this cannot be understated. Try and train your body in a zone 2 condition so that it can learn how to metabolize fat and how to perform in low sugar environments. Because on the mountain, you are going to be out of sugar in the first 1 hour of hiking. So your body needs to have the mechanisms to break down your fats and get energy from your fats. For those of you who do not know what zone 2 cardio is, I advise you to take a very quick dive into Google and find out and try and find a zone two routine that can fit into your already existing fitness routine. How do you get your mind ready? Please know that no question is too small for me, for your guide. Reach out to me and talk to me and raise your concerns so that I can help in easing your mind, in making sure that no small concern is amplified in your mind to the point that it affects your preparedness, it affects your getting ready, and ultimately affects your mood, your situation when you're here climbing the mountain with me. Reach out and ask as many questions as you wish. I am readily available to answer your questions. Read previous experiences and blogs and watch a lot of vlogs from people, especially from your own home country, who have come to Kilimanjaro and summited the mountain. Read their experiences and talk to them if you can, so that they can tell you that they overpacked their gear, which is a thing we see often. People overpack. You overpack a lot of gear. You bring in a lot of food that you end up going back on the plane with. So talk to someone who has done this before. If you would like me to introduce you, I probably do have a few contacts in your country. I wouldn't be surprised if I did. And if you'd like me to introduce you to some people who have climbed mountain so that you can get their experiences, I'd be happy to do that. Visualize and internalize the expedition. 6 months down the line, your mindset should already be 6 months from now, we are hiking Mount Kilimanjaro. Put the mountain in your life as a fact and as a big fact as it is, and visualize what it's like, what it will be like to climb the mountain, to summit the mountain. Internalize the expedition. Know that you're coming in to do a very big thing, and this is a very big life event. So internalize and visualize that expedition so that when you do get here, the emotions and your mental state is ready to take up this challenge and to summit and to get to Point Uhuru. It is a big deal, is what I have just been saying. So your gear, I will provide you with a gear list that you can go through and find out whether you have the correct and the required recommended gear for this mountain. And you will want to break in your gear. Do not come to the mountain with new gear that you have never worn. You want your gear to be yours. Personalize your gear. Make sure you and your hiking boot have been on at least a few hikes before you come mountaineering in it, so that you know what fits and what squeezes, and you can get rid of those things that are just a little bit uncomfortable, because that small bit of comfort is sometimes the difference between a lovely trip and a miserable trip. So break in your gear and organize your rentals in advance. We do offer rental services for gear such as sleeping bags, such as down jackets and your shell jackets, hiking poles, um, flashlights for the night hiking. We do organize these rentals, and talk to me in advance so that we can get you ready and we can get you geared up so that we don't show up at the gate and are rushing on the final minute when we should be focused on the mountain to get a sleeping bag or to get some extra hiking poles. And the tendency to overpack. It is definitely one thing that we get to see a lot on the mountain. People do overpack. You bring in a lot of gear that you end up not needing. So talk to me about that as well. Your porter's bag is has a maximum limit of 18 kilos. So try and stick to this amount of, or try and stick to 15 kilos actually, so we can give a give or take for the porters to add on their personal belongings. So try and stick below 15 kilos of equipment and talk to me. Refer to your gear list so that you can know what you need and what you do not need. Please pack your flag, bring your national flag, bring your association group flag, bring your work flag, any flag that you are associated to be a member of. Please come with your flag so that you can get to the top and stick that flag in and be proud of your individual victory, but also signify that I am Mathan and I am from Kenya and here is my flag. And so that you can get that Instagram picture of you and your flag flying in at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. That is part of our team, myself, and to the right of me are two gentlemen who you will probably be meeting on the mountain. We do have, as I said before, a very big team of support crew that you will be meeting with and interacting with as you do this expedition on the mountain. Payments, how do you book and facilitate? You book and facilitate our services by sending a 20% deposit of the total amount, depending on the invoice and the quote that I will make for you, which is dependent on the route and the number of days that you want to spend on the mountain. Full payments are due 2 months before the expedition dates, and we do offer flexible payments if you'd like to pay in installment, little by little is what you prefer. We do have that option, and we are happy to facilitate that. Payments will be made via a credit card link that I will share with you once we settle on dates and we settle on routes. I will share a payment link with you that is secure and that can facilitate the payments to our account. Safari payments, this is an extra bit that I have not talked about on this recording, and I will not be talking about safaris, but we do offer a safari after the mountain. So that's what this is referring to. And I will make another video about safaris and share that at a later date. So some of the expeditions, and I just have two routes here, which are the Lemosho route and the Marangu route. The Lemosho route is 7 days in the mountain, while the Marangu route is 6 days in the mountain. The Lemosho route, this is what you're looking at on your screen is what we call comparative valuation, not the word I'm looking for. But this is kind of what makes the differences between these two trails. So the Lemosho route has a slightly easier ascent profile, and this means that this is why when you Google it, it has a slightly higher summit rate success than the Marangu route because the ascent profile is slightly easier. But the Marangu route, on the other hand, has much more comfortable sleeping arrangements because you will be sleeping inside wooden cabins, shielded from a lot of the wind, and you will have electricity in the cabins and a comfortable bed, bunk bed that you can share. You'll be four of you and your mates in the same cabin, and it's an experience. It's a nice, very comfortable sleeping arrangement. Whereas on Lemosho, you will be sleeping in a tent that is also an adventure, but no buts is also an adventure. So the Lemosho route has beautiful scenery. So does the Marangu route, and the Lemosho route is an adventure of a lifetime, which is similar to the Marangu route. So regardless of which route you choose and what we end up making for you as an expedition, you will still have the adventure of a lifetime. Frequently asked questions. I get a lot asked about the food and the diet, and my best answer so far has been to this question in my own house and on the mountain. I eat better on the mountain because in my own house, I do my cooking, while on the mountain, I have a chef, a very brilliant chef who does the cooking on the mountain. So the food on the mountain is much better, much tastier, much healthier than the food that I make at my own house. And you will find that this experience will be, and you will find that what we have seen rather is that from all the feedback we get about the expeditions that we prepare, our food and the dieting gets the best rating from all other aspects of the mountaineering expedition. Our food and our diet and the cooking gets the best rating. So you are definitely should not be worried about the food and the diet, nor the drinking water, which I can see is a point here. Number two, most frequently asked question is about malaria and whether or not you should take malaria medication, anti-malaria medication before coming to the mountain. And it's very easy for Google and for the internet to scare us and to give us an unclear picture of the malaria situation. I have been doing this for 5 years now, and not a single one person, not a single one client of mine has contracted malaria while we have been on the mountain. I myself do not take any anti-malarial medication, and I advise a lot of my clients not to take the anti-malaria medication simply because it's a very rare occurrence. And I would say that malaria is and was a disease of the past, that measures have been taken to make sure that malaria is not prevalent at all in the mountaineering regions and in the regions that we are going to be in. Now, are you going to encounter mosquitoes? You will encounter some mosquitoes up to a certain level of altitude, but those mosquitoes, very rare that they're going to be carrying malaria. Drinking water is also another question that I get asked a lot. And the drinking water on the mountain is number one, very safe. And number two, we do boil the water to make sure that any bacteria that might be in the water is killed as we boil it. So we will be drinking very fresh water from the streams on the mountain, but we will be boiling this water to ensure that extra level of safety. And my advice is always this water is so fresh, so pure that we might all have a challenge getting back to our regular water after drinking the mountain water for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 days. Insurance. This is another big question that we do get. You are insured for rescue. If anything happens to you on the mountain, there is insurance in your invoice. It's stated in your invoice. You are insured for rescue. That means that we will take the measures to evacuate you from the mountain in case you are in a critical situation, either through road or in cases of extreme emergency, you will be airlifted by the Tanzania government or the Tanzania National Parks Authority. They will get you out of the mountain. So that is insured for every single climber, every single mountaineer who goes into Kilimanjaro is insured for evacuation. Now, the insurance only covers evacuation. So you might want to look at traveler's insurance, and I'd be happy to recommend some of our insurance agents here in the Kilimanjaro area who might be able to assist with that. So what are the next steps to your Kilimanjaro expedition? First is to reach out to me. Reach out to me about next dates that we are having an expedition as a company. Reach out to me if you'd like me to organize a trip for yourself individually or as a group, and talk to me about the dynamics, the differences, your concerns. Talk to me is the next step. Do send me an email, do send me a WhatsApp, do reach me out on Instagram and talk to me so that we can get to know each other a bit more and understand the kind of trip that you are looking to have. And I will be very happy and I will be very honored to be on this journey with you, this absolute journey of incredible proportions and incredible personal victory. So please reach out and talk to me, talk to any of my colleagues who might respond to your communication about getting you on the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. So here we do have, I do have a bit of payment information for a trip that I have been planning for another client. You can see we have a trip for $2,000. That's a Marangu route, and $2,900 for the Lemosha route. Um, and some information about payment. As I have told you, you can either do a wire transfer or you can do a credit card. I'll give you a link to to make your payment. Yes. And here we have some pictures of myself and a few of my clients that I have led in the past 1 year. So I will definitely look forward to hearing from you. And I definitely look forward to having you on the mountain, hosting you on the mountain, and being with you at the summit of this amazing mountain. Thank you very much, and hoping to hear from you very soon.